What is going on, everybody? Been a diehard Pistons fan since 2003 and starting to get very optimistic about this Pistons team. The Pistons have what I consider to be an incredibly important game tonight against the Indiana Pacers. In this video, we're going to go through and talk about three things that I will be looking to observe and pay close attention to in this matchup. And then we'll talk about what I think the ticket to winning the game will be. And at the very end of the video, I'll explain why I think this game is so important and might be the most important game of the season so far. So the first thing that I'll be paying close attention to is, can Cade Cunningham take over this game? Ever since Jaden Ivey has gone down with an injury, Cade Cunningham has been even more aggressive, hunting his own shot, leading to some high scoring performances. Against the Timberwolves, he dropped 40. The most previous game against the Knicks, he dropped 36. So I think that there is a real world where Cade Cunningham goes off for 30, 35, 40 points, and that could dictate the outcome of this game. When you look at the Indiana Pacers, they're a team that typically plays at a fast pace, leading for more possessions, which means more opportunities for Cade to score the ball. And they also don't really have any super high-end perimeter wing defenders that scare me as far as a Cade matchup goes. Last game against the New York Knicks, you're looking at that roster and you see Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, guys that on paper are tough matchups for Cade. When I look at the Pacers roster, I don't really see anybody that I look at and say, wow, they're going to prevent Cade from really getting his bag. And if we're able to see Cade get into his bag, like he did in the second half of the Knicks game, I think that there's a real world where Cade is able to have a really high scoring output and might even touch that 30, 35, 40 point mark and really take this thing over. So that is something I will be paying close attention to. So moving on, the next thing that I will be paying close attention to is going to be, will Tyrese Haliburton play? And if he does, how does that look? Tyrese Haliburton missed the last game for the Indiana Pacers due to injury. At the time of recording of this video, Tyrese Haliburton is currently questionable for this matchup. So that can go a couple different ways. For one, if he does play, what I'll be interested to see is, will Ausar Thompson guard him? And if so, how much can he slow him down? Because the last two times that we played the Pacers, Ausar Thompson had yet to return to the lineup. And he is, of course, the best option we have for guarding Tyrese Haliburton. Tyrese Haliburton is, of course, the best player on the Pacers, despite Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner being very good. I think that is fair to say. But he hasn't had his best year. Towards the start of the year, Tyrese Haliburton was really struggling. The Pacers were struggling. But towards the last 10 games or so, he has started to return to form and look more like his all-star self. So it will be interesting to see if he comes back and does play. Will he be slowed down from injuries at all? Can the Pistons potentially disrupt him by sending multiple looks at them? Will they have Ausar guard him pretty much all the time? Will they also send Holland out there to guard him? Maybe Cade gets switched on to him for a few possessions. So all in all, just think that Tyrese Haliburton either playing or not playing will really dictate what this game looks like, because if he does sit with injury, I feel really confident about this game. If he does play and is at 100%, I'll be interested to see how that looks from a defensive perspective for the Pistons and how everything goes in that regard. So moving on, the last thing that I'll be paying close attention to is, can Jalen Duren check Miles Turner? Jalen Duren did not get off to the best start this season overall. A lot of people felt like he was playing really poorly. Myself, I felt like he could be playing better. I didn't go all the way saying that I thought he was awful or playing terrible or anything like that. But the thing about it is during that stretch where he struggled most was guarding stretch fives. Jalen Duren has played really, really well recently and is completely rewriting his season as we speak. But right now, his kryptonite still can be those bigs that can step out to the perimeter and shoot the three ball. Miles Turner is definitely not Dirk or Karl Anthony Towns, but he can step out and stretch the floor. So I'll be really interested to see how does Jalen Duren do in this matchup, because I think that this is a potential opportunity for him to continue to rewrite his season and continue to make improvements as the season goes on, as I feel he has been doing lately. So all of that to consider, but I think what it's really going to take to win this game is going to be, can the Pistons keep up with the pace of the Pacers from an offensive perspective? I don't think that the Pistons are going to have a shot to win this game unless they're able to score 110 points, 115 points. I don't think that this is going to be a game that ends 95 to 90 or anything along those lines. So I think it's going to take the Pistons offense to click on all cylinders, and I also think that it's going to take a very good game from our bigs defending the rim, making sure that they don't get too many easy ones themselves, because the Pacers can fill it up and score a lot of points. So to kind of speak on why I think this game is so important, there's a couple different reasons. The clear and obvious one is that the Pistons and the Pacers are very, very close right now in the Eastern Conference standings. As of today, the Pistons are right in that play-in picture, trying to fight to get into the 6th seed so that they can hopefully and eventually avoid the play-in. But that's where the Pacers are right now, and they're trying to do the exact same thing. The Pacers, just like the Pistons, have been winning more games recently than they did at the start of the year. As the Pistons have risen up through the Eastern Conference standings, the Pacers have been one step ahead of them all the way because they have been on a hot streak, as have the Pistons. So I think that that alone makes it really important that right now a loss for the Pacers, even when they're not playing the Pistons, is a win for the Pistons, because that means that they go down in the standings. But if there's an opportunity for us to win while they lose, that can start to really make some headway when it comes to the playoff picture. And on top of that, another reason why I think this game is important is I think that there is very much an untapped rivalry right now between these two teams. Start off every video saying that I started watching the Pistons in 2003. When I started watching the Pistons, their biggest rival was the Indiana Pacers. All the history that goes into that, whether it was the tough playoff series, Tayshaun swatting Reggie Miller off the backboard, the malice at the palace, all of that type of stuff, made the Pistons and Pacers big rivals when I was a kid. But now, I think there's an opportunity to kind of rejuvenate that rivalry, as the Pistons are seeming to be as about competitive as the Pacers. The Pacers also have a star point guard in Tyrese Haliburton. We have Cade Cunningham. So I think that there's an opportunity for the Pistons and Pacers rivalry to start to kick back up and be competitive like it was about 20 years ago. So let me know what you guys think. I think this is a big, important game tonight. A win here would be crucial, and I'll catch up with you guys soon.